Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the DC Comics DC Total Heroes Steel. Spot's already mentioned on the other videos of these that a little late to the game picking these up. It was only through picking up the Superman that I just started kind of getting into them. And then by that time, they were a little harder to find in the stores. So these are older figures, probably a year or so old, maybe almost 2 years old. But I found Steel here at Toys R Us. I found him and Hawkman, so we're going to have a look at those. But they're not bad figures, I have to admit. I kind of have a slightly guilty pleasure picking these up currently. We shall see if I pick up more. The back of the package doesn't give you any sort of read-up, just a bunch of warning things. Don't do this, don't do that. It's recommended for ages 0 to 3, or not recommended for ages 0 to 3. Other figures available are New 52 Superman, New 52 Batman, and New 52 Hawkman. To check out more from the folks over at Mattel, you can go to www.mattel.com. Spot's going to take a break and get this guy opened up. When we come back, we're going to get a better look at the Total Heroes Steel. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Accessories. Steel comes with, of course, I just dropped it, his sledgehammer. It's a good size. It's actually about the same size as the figure. The figure's just a head taller. It's cast also in the same plastic as Steel himself. You can take the weapon, put it into his hand. Put it into his hand. I might have to just warp the hand a little bit. There we go, to get it into his hand. Spot's all thumbs in this video so far. There's Steel with his hammer. A good-sized hammer, I have to admit. There is no clip or anything where you can put the hammer on his back, so if he's not holding it, well, you're just plumb out of luck. Well, as Spot had probably alluded in other videos, having a look at the Total Heroes, Slow Draw McGraw here, the guy that's been picking these up a little bit after their time, I don't know, they're kind of appealing to me. I don't know what the fascination is necessarily, but I kind of like the figures, I have to be honest. They have cloth capes, which is something that doesn't seem to be a common sight. Even figures, well, like the Batman v Superman figures had plastic capes. And meanwhile, Total Heroes were giving us actual fabric capes. Cape is pretty good. It attaches just to the back area of Steel there. Let's get a look at his face. Face isn't bad. It's very neutral. He doesn't have much in the way of an expression to him. The coloring on him, it's not quite a brown, it's not quite a gray, it's kind of something in the middle. I love the coloring that they gave this, like this silver, or it's almost like a, I guess maybe like a bluish grayish silver. I'm just combining a whole bunch of colors. This color I like. I'm not super crazy, I have to admit, for the color that makes up the majority of his body. But the gray is nice. I like the gray. He only has the one open hand. The other hand is closed shut as a fist. The figures, I've mentioned before, are light. There's not really much weight to them. They seem like they're slightly a midpoint between a DC Universe figure, and I've mentioned this before, between a DC Universe figure and even like a cartoon line, like let's say Beware the Batman, or no, not Beware the Batman, The Batman. Like those figures. They're kind of cartoony. There's not really much to be said for the figures, but you know what? They're still pretty posable. That I have to admit. I like how there's the riveted Superman symbol there on his chest. Got a couple of bolts there in his shoulders. The one hand has the spinning kind of gun turret going on there. I think this is a gun turret, little gun turret there. They are posable. I have to admit, they're pretty good for posability. I think when I initially got the ankle in to start picking these up, I thought they were just going to be a swiveled arm, a swiveled leg. But pleasantly surprised to find, like, Steel, for example. He has a ball joint head, hinged shoulders. The shoulder pads kind of obstruct a little bit of the movement out. You can still rotate the arms all the way around, though. He does have a hinge in the elbow, which also allows that forearm to rotate. Rotation in the wrists. No waist rotation. Hinged legs. That's a nice sight to see. Hinged legs on the Total Heroes, and yet on the Batman v Superman figures, I think they only had just a swivel back and forth. So a split leg, forward and back, hinge on the knee. Doesn't rotate anywhere on the knee though, unfortunately. And a hinge on the foot, which also doesn't rotate the ankle. It's just a pivot, just a hinge up and down. Yeah, people have crazy, crazy collecting habits. Just through the process of picking up one figure, I've now ended up picking up more of these figures. Some of the figures are better than others. Steel's not one of my favorites. I think I like some of the earlier figures that we had to look at more so. But he's not bad. I just wish that we had gotten more villains. We got a whole lot of heroes, but other than like Mr. Freeze and Sinestro, and I've seen Riddler, there really hasn't been much in the way of releases for Total Heroes. And of course now the line pretty much is next to dead. I don't even think they're making any more of these figures. So it's a limited, it's one of these collections that you could get the whole collection of, and at least, you know, they're not going to be releasing more of them. Kind of sad though, because I would have liked to have seen what they could have done with like a Joker, or, oh, Lex Luthor was another release that they've given as well. But not enough villains. DC, not enough villains on your Total Heroes line. At any rate, today we were having a look at the Total Heroes Steel. A fairly inexpensive figure. By the way, if you also want to pick up more like these figures as a whole, they're not bad to pick up. You know, even aftermarket, you could get these for a pretty good price. Certainly stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more toy spots heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.